What's going on, YouTube? This is Reaper, and I am back with another video. Alright, well, I just want to say thank you, everybody who has supported me over the last month and a half. Thank you all so much for the new viewership and the new popularity. I definitely do appreciate it, and I'm glad that you guys all enjoyed the tracks that I have made so far. So I hope you guys keep enjoying them, and just know that they will keep coming as long as I have the energy and time to do them. But it has actually been quite fun to try something new for a change, so I have actually been enjoying doing that. But I just want to talk about today about the stuff that is going on pretty much, I want to say, in all competitive games in general. And this is kind of one of those irky kind of situations that I get kind of really annoyed about, but I understand that this is just part of population control and population generation change and stuff like that, and whereas back in the day when we had a whole bunch of lobbies filled with people that actually knew what they were doing and actually knew how to play the game and knew when to shoot people and when to actually fire the gun and actually when to actually spot somebody and stuff like that. Nowadays you don't see that, and that's just really, really sad, because it kind of shows how downhill this gaming industry has gotten over the past 15 years or so. I won't say the full 25 generation age of Xbox by any means, because we all know that the OG Xbox and 360 is when the player skill was at its peak, and ever since then it's just gone downhill, 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 downhill. Now, no matter what game you play, I don't care if you play COD, I don't care if you play Battlefield, I don't care if you play Apex, I don't care if you play Fortnite, I really don't care. But my main point would be is that as long as you're in a team-based type of FPS competitive game, most of your teammates are all trash, and they basically do not know how to actually have internal instincts, and it just drives me insane. Because now it really actually feels like no matter what game you play, whether you're in a quad lobby, solo lobby, it feels like you're just a one-man team machine. That's basically what it feels like, because you can never count on teammates to actually have the skill and experience that you do, or any actual decent, average, competent actual person actually does, and know how to play the game correctly, and with as the one Boom put it, lock in. So I was gonna be like, nah, like it's just sad how these generations have changed, and how these young gamers really just don't have the experience needed to really actually uplift the community in general. You have to rely on the OG millennials to actually do that now, and that's just really sad. I mean, take Xbox for example. Xbox got rid of Phil Spencer, and then boom, hired a millennial. And then what did that millennial do? That millennial automatically made changes up the wazoo. So it's just like, it's kind of shows how far we have fallen as an industry, and it's just kind of sad in my personal lives, because I remember a time before Xbox and before the internet and all that fun jazz, and things didn't used to run this way. They didn't. They ran a lot smoother. They ran a lot better. But overall, I say this industry is going to hell, because you have a whole bunch of new players now that basically do not have the life game experience that that an actual addicted player actually would. So I think that's actually kind of sad, and it is just kind of just showing the reality of what type of time we're about to face. And then, speaking of which is going to be the next generation next year, which is going to be the Xbox Helix. And I cannot wait to see an open platform for Xbox. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to have Steam, Epic Store, Game Pass all in one machine, and I could give two rats about Sony. I really could. And what happens to Sony next is really up to the universe to decide, because if Sony didn't want to bend and Microsoft just said F you, then that's basically how that's how it's gonna pan out eventually, I think, and that's gonna be kind of interesting to see. But next generation, all new ball game, whole new bunch of experiences for the gaming industry to experience, and it's gonna be a blast. So I am looking forward to that, at least. So that should be fun. And then this year, as we all know, GTA 6 comes out at the end of the month. I cannot wait to play that. I'm going to get that in on May 1st. And, then and later in May, we have the 007 game. Then we have Gears of War E-Day announcement in June. We have the Halo Combat Evolved Remastered campaign coming out in July. And then later in the fall, we also have, of course, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4, which they say will now not be on Game Pass. And remember, people, Infinity Ward, not part of Microsoft's ownership of Activision. So they are a completely independent studio that is working at Activision. And when they have their own needs and their own, personal rights to the game, yeah, that stuff doesn't go on Game Pass, people. It don't go on Game Pass unless Microsoft gives them a check to buy them out. But we know they already tried that and they refused. So, there you go. So, anytime it's an Infinity Ward game, don't expect the same treatment as the other CODs. That's just plain facts. But, back to my point, I really feel sad about this industry and, how far the gamers have actually fallen. And, what's actually kind of funny now is there's a bunch of new researchers, research coming out about how gaming is actually affecting your body health and how playing 30 hours a week, people, 30 hours a week can make your brain younger by 7 years. So that means the more you play, the younger you feel. And I got to admit, that's a beautiful, beautiful fact that I realized really early on when I was 6 years old and the first screen I touched was a PC. So trust me when I say I knew this was going to be a factor. But, you guys all know my stats from last year, right? I spent 151 days active on Xbox. 365 days. What's half of that? 150. So I was like, yeah, there you go. So I spent half the year online. So there you go. So I mean that's just, place in point that some people have devotion and then most gamers nowadays do not. And that's just really, really sad, and it shows. But I got to admit that, most people, don't have the same devotion that I do. And, rightfully so, because sometimes, people have responsibilities in life. Some people have jobs. Some people have families. Some people have kids, so on and so forth. But, overall, for me, being a bachelor for life, I got to admit, playing video games all day long is the only thing I've ever wanted since I was a child. So I have my actual grown-up dream, and my dream is just to be on screen every single day for the rest of my eternal life. So I got to admit that is actually, quite a blast to do every single day and not have responsibilities of females or children or wives or marriage. Or I'm just so happy not to have those issues in my life that it's just mwah, golden. Single for life, beautiful choice, best choice in history. I got to admit, and I've been single for 21 years, people, and I'm 36 now. So do the math. Tell me when the last time I actually had a girl was, and then tell me. I haven't actually done quite well for myself over the years. So, and it's all because I did not have that drama. But just because I actually showed devotion to the screen doesn't mean the rest of the world will. That's kind of the point I was getting at. But that's actually kind of the funny part, because now people, produce these FPSs and they expect people to automatically just get with it and stuff like that. And most people now, especially the Gen Zs and the alphas, don't do that. They require incentive. They require attention speed. It's insane. But I got to admit, while it lasts. So that's the important part. But overall, I got to admit that this industry is either looking at a rebirth or an ultimate downfall. And what that actual decision might be will be decided by next year. So we will definitely see what happens. But overall, I hope everybody enjoyed this video. I will be making more music shorts later in the week. So look out for those. And I'll catch you guys later. Okay? Later.